Welcome to my channel. They were 12 soldiers trapped in a canyon, outnumbered and left for dead, until a single unknown sniper changed everything. Every impossible shot, every whispered command, turned certain death into survival. But when the smoke cleared, their savior had vanished, leaving behind only a shell casing, a motto, and a legend whispered across battlefields: Phantom. The radio sputtered like it was choking on smoke. This is Sierra Team. We're pinned. Repeat, taking fire from all sides at grid sector Theta 9. Requesting immediate support. A pause. Then came the reply, flat, emotionless. Negative, Sierra. No assets available. You're on your own. I've been in a lot of tight spots, but that one was different. We were 12 souls deep in that canyon. Once jagged stone, now soaked in shrapnel and fury. My name is Lieutenant Commander Adrian Cross, Navy Special Operations. And that morning, we walked into hell with our eyes wide open and no clue it was waiting. I remember pressing my shoulder against that cold rock wall, my left arm shredded by shrapnel, blood dripping off my elbow like a metronome. My rifle, custom suppressed 17 Malawian kwaches, was down to its last mag. Around me, my team fought like hell, locked in the most lopsided firefight I'd ever seen. Muzzle flashes lit up the cliffs like strobe lights. Bullets zipped past like angry hornets. The air was thick with the metallic sting of blood and cordite. To my left, 25 meters out, Sergeant First Class Valeria Val Dominguez worked her sniper rifle with surgical rhythm. North Ridge. I'm counting at least 50 hostiles, maybe more, she growled into her mic. We're boxed. Total kill zone. We'd been sent on what command called a routine recon. Check anomalous heat signatures, grab some pics, get out before brunch. That's how they sold it. But Theta 9 was a lie. No maps marked it. No locals lived near it. And apparently, no intel officer had any clue there was an enemy stronghold hidden within it, complete with trained fighters, encrypted comms, and top-tier gear. This ain't no ragtag militia, Val said. They're trained. Fire and move tactics. Thermal sweeps. NBG arrays. The works. Command. I radioed again, forcing my bloody fingers to grip the mic. Sierra Actual. We are in critical danger. Surrounded. Outgunned. Requesting CAS or evac, immediate. The delay on the response was a lifetime. Sierra Actual, this is HQ. Nearest air asset is 70 minutes out. Terrain complications. Can you hold position? 70 minutes? Hell, we'd be dead in 7. Negative, I hissed. This becomes 12 Kia unless you get us something now. I could hear every breath around me tightening. Then, just as the next wave of enemy fire ripped into the rocks above, something changed. A single rifle shot rang out. It didn't sound like the chaos around us. This one cracked sharp, clean, like a bell in a church full of sinners. One enemy rifleman dropped instantly. Val's head jerked up. What the hell was that? Before I could answer, another clean shot dropped a machine gunner from the East Ridge. Then another. 3 kills. 3 rounds. No misses. Anyone have eyes on support? I barked. Negative, the squad replied. But we weren't alone anymore. Whoever they were, they had perfect aim and perfect timing. I scanned the high ridge through cracked lenses. Nothing. No heat shimmer. No scope glint. No movement. But someone was there, watching, covering us. Val, you see anything? I asked. Negative, ma'am. But whoever's up there isn't missing. Every shot's a drop. Then the radio came alive with a voice none of us recognized. Steady, calm, full of something I hadn't heard in hours. Control. Sierra Team, this is Ghost 1. Hold your ground. I've got Overwatch. Everyone froze. Ghost 1. I keyed back. Identify yourself. What unit are you with? No unit. Just an observer who doesn't like watching Americans get slaughtered in grid sectors we pretend don't exist. Another shot. Another enemy gone. 43 hostiles remain. They're flanking from your southwest. You've got maybe 2 minutes. Reposition for personnel. Now. I didn't hesitate. Val, Briggs, Nakamura, Deeks, shift southwest. Cover the gap. They moved like pros. Whoever Ghost 1 was, they laid down perfect covering fire, creating clean lanes for our team to redeploy. It was like playing chess with a ghost, one who could see the whole board. I hit the comms again. How do you know our mission? We were dropped in under blackout. I watched your hello drop at 0430, the voice replied. Been shadowing your movements. Listening to enemy comms. Figured you'd need a hand once they sprung the net. That wasn't just good recon. That was surgical. Precise. Preemptive. Are you active duty? I asked. Pause. I was. Different branch. Different ops. Doesn't matter now. But it did matter. That voice didn't belong to a hiker with a lucky shot. This was someone who'd trained for years in tactics most people only read about in redacted reports. Then came a masterclass in marksmanship. Each of Ghost One's rounds found critical targets, enemy leaders, comms operators, machine gun crews. The tide was turning. They didn't just shoot, they unraveled the enemy. I peered through my scope and spotted movement at the North Pass. Vehicles, heavy guns, reinforcements en route. Ghost, I've got movement north. Can you cut off their retreat? Working the math, the voice replied. Then, crack, crack, crack. The enemy convoy collapsed. Every key figure, driver, gunner, squad lead, taken out in under 10 seconds. Chaos spread like wildfire through the ranks. Sweet mercy, Briggs muttered. That's not shooting. That's divine intervention. Ghost One, I said, leveling my tone. That's beyond Navy sniper skill. What's your real background? There was silence, then a low answer. Naval Special Warfare. Multiple black tours. But it's history. You can call me Phantom. A legend had just stepped out of the shadows. And they were on our side. I'd heard stories, like every operator has. Whispered tales about ghost shooters. Men and women who vanished off the grid, showing up only when the mission had failed and hope was running dry. I never believed in them. Until Phantom, he, she, whoever they were, had command of that valley like a maestro with a symphony of death. Each shot was a beat. Each kill, a crescendo. And the enemy? They were starting to break. Contact front. Fading, Nakamura reported. They're pulling back, Northwest Ridge. They're not retreating, Val snapped. They're regrouping. And she was right. In my scope, I saw them falling back into a defensive half-moon, digging in. Some tried to crawl into natural crevices in the rock. Others took up high ground and started scanning the ridges. They're expecting air, I muttered. They're expecting something they can understand. Ghost One, Phantom, cut in. Not what's coming next. And then we saw the real depth of their skill. Phantom shifted to targeting enemies inside a nearby cave network. Rounds rang out with strange metallic clangs. I thought at first they were misses. Ricochet shots, Val said in disbelief. He's banking bullets around corners. Sure enough, every bizarre angle ended with an enemy falling, screaming, or vanishing into dust. Phantom was using the natural curvature of the rock to bend reality. How in God's name? Deke started. Advanced ballistics, came Phantom's reply. Physics. 25 years of it. That was beyond training. That was obsession. That was art. They kept us safe. While the rest of us conserved every bullet, every breath. Phantom painted the battlefield with precision. The kill zone that was meant to be our grave became our fortress. One lone rifle guarding 12 exhausted souls. 28 left, Phantom updated. Some trying to dig in. Others are preparing a final push. I checked my mag. 5 rounds. Val had 3. Briggs was down to 2. The others weren't much better. Phantom, what's your ammo status? Enough, came the cool answer. For what's coming. We didn't know what was scarier, the enemy, or the quiet certainty in that voice. The remaining hostiles made one last move, climbing, scattering, trying to flank us again through the upper slope. Didn't matter. Phantom hunted them like he could see through stone. Each attempted escape ended the same way, one shot, one drop. And yet we knew. This wasn't over. Not yet. The valley fell quiet for a moment. One of those silences that doesn't soothe. It tenses, holds its breath. We all knew it was the calm before something violent. Then Phantom's voice sliced in again. Sierra Actual. Final hostiles are converging. Preparing for a suicide push from your front. They're out of options. I adjusted my grip on the 17 Malawian quatches, every joint in my fingers aching. The cold rock behind me felt like ice pressed against bone. We were nearly dry on ammo. No backup. No miracle bird inbound. Ghost, can you cover their charge? I asked. Negative, he replied without hesitation. They're using dead space. I've got no angle. Which meant we'd have to finish this ourselves. Everyone, I barked. Final defense line. No full auto unless you're tracking targets. Short bursts only. Make every round count. Val moved beside me, her breathing sharp but measured. When they push, they'll do it fast. They want to overwhelm us. That means they'll come in tight, I said. We hold until they're close. Then we drop them. We waited. Then the first shout tore through the air, and they came. The enemy's last fighters broke from cover and sprinted across the open valley, screaming, weapons blazing, desperation carved into every footstep. It was suicidal, an all-or-nothing charge. Hold, I shouted. 20 meters. 15. Fire. Our team erupted in a storm of lead. Controlled, precise. The first wave fell hard, bodies slamming into the canyon floor with thuds that sounded like punctuation marks. But the second wave came anyway, right over the dead, firing wildly. Reloading. Briggs shouted. Covering. Val snapped, shifting her rifle to protect him. I'm out, someone else yelled. The chaos was crushing, tight, suffocating. Then Phantom's voice cut in, colder than steel. Sierra team. Hit the ground. Now. We didn't ask why. We just obeyed. Everyone dropped flat. Then Phantom fired. His shots cut through the narrow gaps between us with inhuman precision. I felt one round pass inches over my scalp, then heard the scream as the enemy behind me dropped. 1, 2, 5, 7 in total. And then, silence. Real silence. No shouting. No footsteps. No breathing but our own. I slowly lifted my head and scanned the battlefield. No movement. Just us, dusty, bleeding, breathing. Alive. I sat back against the rock, chest heaving. My vest was torn, skin bruised black and red beneath it, but I was intact. Around me, one by one, my team began to rise. Team status. I called out, forcing strength into my voice. A chorus of voices answered, gravelly, hoarse, shaken, but present. Tactical wounds, nothing fatal. Down to 1 mag of sidearm only. Bleeding bad, but stable. But the one thing that echoed through all our checks, we were all alive. Every last one of us. Phantom, I said into the comms. Sierra actual. Situation appears secure. Repeat, threat neutralized. What's your status? Silence. I tried again. Phantom, do you copy? More silence. Ghost 1, come in. Nothing. I lifted my scope, sweeping the cliffs for any sign. Heat, movement, shimmer. But the high ridge that had once spit divine fire was still empty, as if no one had ever been there. Val, I said, did you ever get visual on our overwatch? She shook her head slowly. Not once. Only heard the shots. Same here, Briggs added. Closest I got was a casing that bounced down the rock. We waited for another minute. Nothing. Then came the evac call. 3 Blackhawks and 2 Apaches thundered in from the south, slicing through the canyon winds, flares cutting through the dusk. They touched down hard, rotors screaming, boots spilling out. Marines swept the field, finding what we already knew, 12 battered operators, and 52 hostile bodies strewn in formations that defied logic. Who the hell cleared this valley? One of the Marines muttered, staring at the precise placement of bodies. Didn't even see half these guys when we flew in. During debrief, I tried to make sense of it all. We all did. I told them everything. Ghost 1, the voice, the support, the shots, the ricochets that bent physics. Captain Morel, our field commander, leaned across the table, frowning. And you're telling me no one saw him? Not a shadow, I replied. But he had our codes, our radio designations, knew our drop time. You think this was an unsanctioned op? He asked. I think someone out there saved 12 American lives without asking for thanks, I said. That's all I know. The official record would say it was Sierra team versus an entrenched force. The numbers wouldn't add up. The kill shots wouldn't match our ammo logs. But we knew. We knew someone had been watching. And they were gone now. We rotated out of that hellhole 2 days later. They patched us up, stuck us in metal chairs, debriefed us like machines. Every question was the same. Who was the sniper? What was their unit? How did they know our radio codes? I gave the same answer every time. No idea. But we owe them everything. Back at the forward base in Garrison Outpost 14, I kept staring at the ridgeline from the helipad. The image burned into my mind. I couldn't let it go. Neither could Val. We should go back, she said. To the ridge? I asked. To where the Guardian stood. We convinced our CO to authorize a recon. Small team, off-book. Just observation. We hiked at first light, 5 of us, including Val, Briggs, and a drone operator named Wyatt. The air was crisp, the kind that chews on your skin even through layered fleece. Every step upward felt like walking into memory. 2 hours in, we found the ledge. It was like sacred ground. There were no signs of camp, no gear left behind. But Phantom hadn't vanished without a trace. There, set on a flat stone, was a single brass shell casing. 338 Lapua Magnum, match grade. Wyatt picked it up carefully, cradling it like a relic. This round's from an AXMC or custom build. No markings. Perfect weight. Precision too tight for casual. Beside the stone was something carved into the limestone. A phrase, etched with a combat knife. The only easy day was yesterday. I exhaled slowly. The SEAL motto. Our motto. But the edges of the carving, they were worn, smoothed with purpose, not weather. I reached down, fingers brushing across the words. It wasn't just a signature. It was a promise. He was one of us, Val said softly. Or still is. I slipped the casing into my vest. I didn't tell command. They'd just lock it in evidence and file the story away under anomalies. But I knew what it meant. Someone was still out there. Still watching. And maybe waiting. 10 months passed. The story of Theta 9 never made it into the official logbooks. Not the real story. The official version read, recon mission completed. Hostile force neutralized. 0 friendly casualties. No mention of the ghost on the ridge. No mention of Phantom. But we all remembered. I was back stateside when it happened, invited to speak at a tactical leadership symposium in Newfield, Virginia. They wanted someone to talk about resilience in isolated combat, whatever that meant. I gave my best version of the story, scrubbed, filtered, made palatable for the suits. A lesson in decision-making under fire. No mention of divine marksmanship or voices from the cliffs. That night, during the reception, I stood near the back, nursing a flat soda, itching for the doors. That's when I saw him. Older. 60s, maybe. Weathered face. Trim beard. Wearing a charcoal gray suit that couldn't quite hide the posture of a man who still checked his exits and scanned for sniper nests. He walked up slow. Lieutenant Commander Cross, he said, voice low but firm. Yes. I sat in on your panel. The one about Blackridge. My stomach tensed. Nobody at that event was supposed to know the real name of the region. I hadn't spoken it aloud. Hell of a story, he added. Appreciate it, I replied carefully. You still carry that shell casing? He asked. The question hit me like a sudden gust. I didn't answer, just stared. Sometimes, he said, smiling faintly. Doing the right thing means walking alone. I blinked, suddenly dry-mouthed. Were you there? He offered no answer. Just a half-step back, a subtle glance over his shoulder. Wait, I said. Are you? He was already gone, slipping into the crowd like mist over cold stone. I tried asking around, checked the guest list, the security footage. Nothing. No one by his description. No one had even seen him arrive. But at the hotel bar, the bartender handed me a small wooden box left under my name. Inside, a Navy Special Warfare Association challenge coin. One side bore the golden trident. On the other, 12 tiny stars etched by hand. One for each of us that made it out. I carried that coin in my pocket every day after Newfield. Not for luck, but for memory. For accountability. For the 12 of us who should have died in that canyon. Phantom was still out there. Somewhere. Word of what happened started circulating in whispers through special operations channels. Never officially, never in writing, but it spread. Operators who'd never met started asking about the Ridge Ghost and the Phantom Shot Caller. One Delta operator told me his team heard a voice guide them through a black site extraction in the Balkans. Same calm tone. Same chilling precision. No record. No friendly assets within 300 clicks. Couldn't have been him, Val said when I mentioned it. Unless the guy teleports. I shrugged. Maybe he doesn't operate by our rules anymore. Soon after, I got reassigned to Pacific Command. A quieter role. Desk work mostly. I kept the casing on my desk. Some people assumed it was a memento from a sniper kill. I let them believe that. But the truth was, I kept it to remind myself that sometimes, the battlefield gives back what it takes. It was around then that the term Sentinel Valley started showing up in mission prep. Unofficial, of course. Teams briefed for remote ops with no overwatch began using the phrase, "If it goes sideways," one team lead said, "maybe we get lucky and someone from Sentinel Valley is watching." It wasn't superstition. It was belief. Some warriors don't retire. They vanish. They stop following the comms and start following instinct. They wait. They choose when to reappear. Not for glory, not for medals, but because the fight still matters. And because someone, somewhere, needs to make it home. The more I asked, the less I found. I searched military rosters, declassified mission logs, even spoke with retired snipers from different branches. The name Phantom turned up once, just once, in an old Navy training ledger buried in an archived annex. No first name, no last, only a call sign and a note, classified, detached status. I emailed a friend at Langley. Her response was 2 lines long. "Don't dig too deep, Adrian. Some ghosts prefer to stay buried." And that was the last I heard from her. Still, I couldn't help myself. I kept the shell casing, the coin. I kept them like anchors, like proof that the impossible had happened, that someone had answered a call no one else could hear. Some nights, I'd catch myself listening for him, ears tuned to the dead silence of the dark, wondering if he was out there again. Somewhere high, somewhere cold, his breath fogging behind a scope, waiting to fire the shot that would save someone else. One night, about a year after the symposium, I got a call from Val. "Adrian," she said, her voice lower than usual. "Did you hear what happened to that Marine unit in Cunner?" "Yeah. Ambush. 6 survivors. They said someone covered their retreat. Single shooter. One voice over the radio. Said his name was Watchman. But the cadence, Adrian, it was him." I didn't ask how she knew. She just did. Different name. Same shadow. We didn't speak much more that night. Some things don't need explaining. Sometimes, all you can do is keep a light on in the dark and hope the ones in the shadows see it. I've seen medals handed out for actions that didn't save a single soul. And I've seen men like Phantom, those who ask for no recognition, no ceremony, and leave nothing but a trail of empty shell casings and lives that somehow make it home. The shell casing from Sentinel Valley still rests on my desk, polished smooth from years of being turned over in my hand. The coin with 12 stars stays in my pocket when I deploy. I don't take it out for luck. I take it out to remember. Phantom never wanted thanks. Never even gave us his name. Just a call sign, a background sketch, and a string of impossibly perfect shots that rewrote our fates. When people ask me what I believe in, I tell them this. I believe that somewhere, in the folds of the world's most dangerous places, there are still people who watch. People who operate alone, by choice, not command. People who remember what the rest of us forget, that the mission never ends when you leave the field. That some wars don't need uniforms. That sometimes, your purpose is not to fight for a country, but to protect those who still serve it. There's no record of Phantom in our files. No service number. No official log of the firefight in Grid Theta 9. But every operator who fought there remembers him. And when new teams head into deep ground, some carry coins. Some whisper prayers. Some carry nothing at all. But all of them know the story. They know that if things go truly wrong, and the enemy thinks they've won, there might be a voice on the radio. Calm. Precise. Hold your ground. Let me work. And maybe, just maybe, a Phantom will rise from the cliffs once more. To watch over those still fighting. To make sure someone makes it home.